All right, Rose, thank you so much for being here today. I just want to let everybody know who's listening that you had done one of my workshops, which is on how to work with the mind, the power of the mind, and the magic of it, of the intuition. And then from there, you decided to sign up for my 90-day coaching program called Beyond Limits, which is just that. It takes people beyond limitation into greater freedom, clears the pathway so that you can have more clarity as you're moving forward towards living more purposefully in life. And not only did I enjoy our time together, but you said something that was really impactful in our last session. And I always find it so helpful when people can share their experiences and others get to listen to them. You had said, Kim, I was going through my notes uh, and I was looking at all the things that I wanted to experience in this program or achieve or feel or become. And you said I checked off every one of them.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, Rose, that's amazing. And I got the sense too as I was looking at my own notes. And so why don't we just start by sharing what did you want to shift and improve and elevate in your life when you started the program?
Yeah, so it was very interesting how I felt like I was led to your program actually because I found your workshop very much by chance. I had planned to do a workshop that was very different. It was sort of like a discover your intuition through art kind of a thing. And then at the
Mhm.
last minute it was canceled. And I thought, okay, well I'll just go to the gym today. And at the same time that I had planned out of the workshop, I found your workshop and I thought, oh my gosh, that's just sort of in the same lines as what I was wanting to do. Like this, maybe this is the one I'm supposed to do. So I came to your workshop with a very open mind, and I think that was really helpful because rather than my conscious mind coming in saying, here's some stuff I want to improve in my life, when I got to your workshop, I thought, what do I kind of thought of it from a different place. Like, what are things that like I really want to improve or what I really need to improve, maybe? And
Mhm.
so coming from that place, was a totally different set of answers than I think I would have come up with if I was looking for coaching, just, from my conscious mind, if you will. So,
Yep.
for example, I really felt that I wanted to gain a greater connection to my higher self, my intuition, and really develop my own ability to um, kind of connect in that way and direct my life from a more spiritual place. I had spoken to sort of energy healers and people like that in the past, but when you talk to those people, they're typically doing work on you. And I thought, I want to better understand how to connect with this world myself. And so that was really the sort of the foundation of what I wanted to learn when I was coming into your program.
So you touched on something very interesting because a lot of people, a lot of times people have sessions with me and even in the 90-day program too, when the conscious mind is involved, it's very different set of answers than when the soul gets involved. And so a lot of times people leave the sessions or the program going, wow, okay, I wasn't expecting that. And I think we had a few of those sessions together, like,
Yes.
whoa, where did that come from? How did that unfold? I wasn't thinking about that. And now that that's come to light, it becomes very powerful. And that is something that I highly believe in is teaching people how to live from their own inner wisdom so that they can live from a more empowered place. So I'm glad that you were able to experience that for yourself, Rose, and the magic that comes with that. And so that is a part of the program. That's like one of the foundations of my program. And people come for all different kinds of things. They want to get unstuck, they want to improve their confidence levels, they want to improve relationships, etc. But at the core of it is always building that connection to you, strengthening that connection, being able to recognize that connection, getting comfortable with it. How does it feel? What does it sound like? What kind of guidance comes through? So I'm so happy that that's what you got to experience. And because you're so open and receptive to begin with, I just think I find when people are that way, it really lends itself to incredibly powerful experiences that leave me kind of going, "Oh my gosh, wow, that was amazing!" And I got to experience that with you as the facilitator, as the coach. Some of the other things that you talked about too, and this is a big part of my program, Rose, is just becoming aware of maybe our own limitations too and our beliefs. And that is, if you'd like to expand on that too, something that you were interested in as well as a part of heightening your awareness.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I realize that they're again, sort of speaking to the conscious mind, like we have our conscious mind that's sort of running on autopilot all day, giving us our little mental story, but then there's that subconscious layer of beliefs that's influencing us all the time, creating our reality without us even realizing it. And so I didn't know what my limiting beliefs might be, but I did know that there was a good chance that I had many things that were impacting my everyday life and not allowing me to operate on, what I would call like my highest and best life path. And I really wanted to let go of anything that was holding me back or keeping me in a lower place. And to do that, I had to identify it. I had to do the work to find out what might be there that would be stopping me because my conscious mind doesn't know. I have to, find out. So, one of the things that you were doing was the hypnotherapy, which I thought was so amazing for that, for uncovering those limiting beliefs because it allows you to go deeper and to sort of, get around the conscious mind, but then your conscious mind is still there to process it. So that was really helpful for me.
Yes, because I remember there was one thing in particular that you wanted to kind of get a deeper understanding of. And I remember in our hypnosis session, what came from that, that was that was, I guess I would describe it as a block, but that your conscious, everyday thinking mind isn't going to see.
Mhm.
And and so, but when you do get deeper in the mind and you can see what's being revealed without going into the details of that, I mean, how did you feel? I think you know which session I'm talking about. How
Yeah.
did that like I know from my perspective, I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that.
Yes.
And it I don't know if you'd like to share just a little bit about without the details, but just how that made you feel. Like, was it pretty eye-opening for you as well?
Yeah, I mean it's life changing, honestly, because um, you can go to traditional therapy for years. And if you have a really great therapist, like through that talk therapy, you will probably eventually start to uncover things and do some work. But like what's so crazy about something like this is that it almost feels like a pretty immediate recognition and change. Um, and so that is just so like amazing that that's possible, that like with just one session you can uncover this huge thing in your life and you don't even have to work to make the changes. It's like by nature of discovering it, things change. And so that is, I don't want to sell it as like the easy way out because I wouldn't say they're easy. They're, sessions. But it is certainly a fast track. I'll say that. So,
Yes, and that's so interesting because that's part of the name of my program is Beyond Limits. It's an accelerated pathway to an elevated life. And I think you touched on something really important because I actually worked with people and also a doctor in psychology who told me the same thing. It's like, wow, that took me 7 years. That kind of thing would have taken me 7 years in therapy that we just did in one session. And I've heard that several times. So it's interesting that you felt the same way. And I think, every modality it all serves a beautiful purpose, and you'll be led to where you're supposed to be at any given time of your journey. But I think what really elevates this kind of work is when you involve the soul. I
Yeah.
don't know how else to say it, but when you involve the soul, that's what really elevates things. That's what you allows you to get to the root of things much, much faster.
Mhm.
And I think you said something important too, Rose, is that it kind of kickstarts something. It like changes the energy. So it's through that awareness and just through healing work too. Like, you know, having the ability to change things and heal things in a state of hypnosis, which is part of the work we did together. It's you doing that, right? You're the one who's deciding today is the day and now is the time.
Mhm.
And I'm ready for this change. I want this change. And so I'm going to create this change. Is that
Mhm.
fair thing to say? Especially in that, I'm referencing that one session we had,
Yeah.
but that's kind of how
Yeah. And I
it
think that's a
it seemed to
really
be.
it's a perfect way of putting it, actually, because it is so empowering and it can feel like a little scary, even. Like you have like to make that choice is a meaningful thing, right? So as
Yes.
you uncover a limiting belief, it's one thing to say, okay, now I see it. It's another thing to say, okay, now I'm really going to let it go and I'm going to find out what's on the other side. So it's very empowering. It's very kind of exciting, very different. If you haven't done, like I'm not somebody who's practiced in hypnotherapy or anything like that. So it was a very new experience. But like so easy to sort of just come in the door and do it. You just have to be willing to then do the work once you're in it.
Yes, we have to be willing because we always get to decide, right? As the creator within
Right.
our creation, we get to decide. And you made some very powerful choices where you decided that that was what was going to be for you. And
Mhm.
then, Rose, you did it. You made
Right.
that choice and then you did it. And that was your doing. Nobody can force you to do that. Only you can make that choice once you have that awareness.
Right.
And so that was really amazing for me to be able to witness too. So as you talk about this work, like what's some of the key transformations that you would say you've seen as a result of that in terms of, how you experience life, day-to-day living, yeah, some of the transformations that you may have
Sure.
experienced.
So I would say, I'm sure there's people who come to a program like this and they're like, I want to quit smoking. And then at the end of the program, they've quit smoking, right? Like it's this very obvious, like start to finish. Mine was like a less, it was like a less obvious set of things that I wanted to do, but the outcome was transformational in that almost like my world shifted, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
I personally feel that my way of being in the world has changed. Um, and I'm just living from like a better place. So I would say, for example, like I meditated many times in the past and I enjoyed meditating and I felt like it was great and yada yada everything, but like my meditation now is very different. It's much more like effective, maybe would be the word, I guess you might say. Like it used to be meditation was nice. Now meditation is like something that I do every day that I'm getting like immediate, obvious results and answers to questions and growing through my meditation, which like I didn't even have that on the list, right? I didn't even see that as something that I wanted to do or that I thought was possible. I already thought I was meditating. Like, but I was not. I was not meditating the way I'm meditating now. So, like
Yeah.
things like that are happening that like weren't on the list, but have really just foundationally changed my everyday life. I also feel like sort of in the sense of like my perception and my awareness of things has changed, and it's definitely grown pretty significantly.
Yeah.
So that's been really nice as well, just to feel like I'm participating in a more vibrant world and a more positive world, and just kind of exploring and uncovering new things all the time as a result of that.
That's beautiful, and that's one of the things that I always find most exciting about this work. And I know there were a ton of synchronicities and things that had happened in between our sessions that
Yes,
I know we didn't even get to cover the full
true.
of extent of it, because you tell Kim, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you about this and this, or yes,
Yeah.
maybe we'll talk about it next time. And there's just so much
So
that
much. Oh
we
my
went
gosh. So
through
much.
that I never even got to hear all of those synchronicities and experiences that you were
Yeah.
having on your own in between the sessions. And that's what typically happens. And what I also noticed too, and this is one of the most fun things that I get to experience, leading these sessions and programs, is that as soon as somebody signs up, what I've noticed is they start to see stuff like happening already, like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, there's definitely something like again, there's something profound about like, doing the like being the one to say yes in the sessions themselves, but also even like starting on the path of doing it. I felt like I got
yeah.
like multiple sort of like warnings going into it, like it won't be easy, but it's also the right thing to do. Like, because it was just like there was like other opportunities kind of popped up like before I signed up for your program that were like easier, right? Like it would have been like an easier option. And I was sort of like, oh, like I could maybe do that. And I got this voice in my head, yeah, you could, but like the harder one will be the better results. So I'm glad that
Oh,
I definitely glad that I went with with your program.
oh, thank you so much, Rose. I know people have some like, oh boy, or they don't, it's kind of like you don't know what you don't know. That's always how it
Yeah.
is, the spiritual journey, you don't
Yeah.
until it is.
Hmm.
So, that's amazing. But and I'm so thankful that you chose the decision that you made, because I got to be on that part of the journey with you.
Yes, yes.
So I would just love to ask, in conclusion, you've been so kind in sharing your time and your experience. Would you recommend this program to other people? And if so, why?
Yes, I would absolutely recommend the program to other people and really anybody who is, seeking to have, personal growth. Like I think you have so many different modalities that you work with in your program that there really probably is something for everyone. For me, like I mentioned, like the hypnotherapy was really effective, but we also had sessions where we were talking that were really effective. And I think I don't even know, there's probably stuff we didn't even do that you do. So I think there's really just so many aspects to what you do. And it's influential in all different aspects of life. So I had this particular set of things that I wanted to do that resonates really well with your skill set, I think. But I think,
Okay, good.
yeah. And, but I also think like what you do applies to everything in life. So I don't think that anybody could come in the door and have something that you'd be like, oh, this won't work for me. Because at the end of the day, like when you're working with your higher self and, with your soul, that is, it's there to guide you through all of your life's challenges. So I just think it's a really effective program.
Thank you so much, Rose. Thank you for sharing that. And my intention is always that I leave you with tools and practices that are going to be sustainable for you, over the rest of your life. You'll be able to take this in, and apply it and use it to support you just moving forward on your own. So thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you, Kim. I appreciate your time.